What's up, everybody? Jackson here, your cat daddy, and today we take a cat trip. Yes, that's right. And even in times like this when travel is just not really all that possible, come on board. I am your flight director, your flight attendant. Come on, let's go. We're going to Belgium, you guys. Come on. Okay. Anyway, we're going to Belgium today to talk to Anne because Anne is having some issues with her cat Momo. So Anne, coming in for a landing.
Hey Jackson, my name is Anne. I live in Belgium. I have a question for you for my cat Momo. He's about a year old. He is male, he's neutered, and he's been making these yowling sounds several times a day, and I just wanted to know what's up. Sometimes it gets like a really deep yowl. And so he lives with his sister, Nora. Momo's more the rambunctious one, Nora's more the calm one, and I work from home all the time now with COVID. So when he does this, I try to pick him up, I try to play with him, but it doesn't really do anything. He returns to that behavior. So let me know what's up. Thank you so much. Bye.
Well, Anne, it seems like we got the same issues worldwide. It's kind of like the thing that unites us as a global cat community is that we do silly things. In the name of cat love, we do some silly things. And I just gotta say, I'm not judging. Oh, actually, my shirt says that I'm quietly judging you, but I'm not, quietly. Anyway, Anne, no, here's the thing. I think that you're putting out some very good clues as to why Momo is doing what he's doing. So let's take a look at those clues. Now, the first thing that you say is that
I work from home all the time now.
As are so many of us. The second thing that you said when you were saying about this howling and how it's just really just loud and you genuinely seem kind of shocked by it. But then you say this.
So when he does this, I try to pick him up, I try to play with him, but it doesn't really do anything.
And that's when my cat radar red blinking lights just start to go like that. Anyhow, hopefully something visual just happened right there. But what you're saying is that when he does it, you pick him up, you love on him. And then there's the capper, which is this. Oh, there's that. And moving on, what kind of gold coin-shaped food is in that cabinet? Because I guarantee you there's food in that cabinet. There's something in that cabinet that Momo wants. So here's a little 2 + 2 that I'm putting down here, is that my guess is, with the love that you feel for your boy, that when he does this, when he gives it this plaintive meow, and he just does this thing, you probably not just pick him up and love on him, but in times like this, you probably open up what's in that cabinet and give him what he's asking for. Circling back to where I say, oh, we're such silly people, and I'm saying this in the most loving way again because I have done it. We've all been there. What we are allowing our cats to do and what Momo is doing to you, Anne, is this. Okay, so just imagine I'm Momo, and this violin that I'm playing is you. Momo playing you like a fiddle. And that's what this is all about. He's got you trained, and he knows that if he does certain things, you will respond in a certain way. And that is emblematic of what training is. Look at it the other way around. If Momo was being clicker trained and you were to train him to do a sit or a high five or something like that, that's you getting what you need out of Momo by giving him a positive association. So he knows that if he does this, and more importantly, if he goes, ow, well, he does it better than me. Hold on. Then you will respond by picking him up, cuddling him, maybe playing with him, or definitely giving him, the hidden treasure that's inside that cabinet. And then there's one final thing in here that that magnifies this entire problem. And again, something that a lot of us can relate to. We're home so much more than we have been in the past. This year has been an experiment in cohabitation. You are with him more, you're aware of his actions more, and on a good side, you're more dedicated to the building of a relationship with him because you're there. But it then hits a sort of tipping point, and now you're establishing bad habits based on that sort of magnified relationship, if that makes sense. Of course, it does make me think about his sister. Like, while all this is going on, is she sitting there sort of going, you know what? Squeaky wheel, man. I'm getting nothing here. Do I have to yowl? And before you know it, she's doing some stuff too. Anyway, I'm not going to skip ahead because hopefully you'll nip this in the bud. So the first thing I can tell you is, it sounds really horribly obvious, but cut it out. Stop rewarding the behavior. And just as I've given you guys advice before about how to get a cat to stop waking you up in the middle of the night, and if you haven't seen that one and you're not getting a good night's sleep, check out this video right above my head. But in the meantime, in this case, it's just nothing. Let him meow it out, let him scratch at that cabinet. Do not get up, do not say his name, do not pick him up and cuddle him, do not feed him or even yell at him. Whatever it is, as long as that meow and that action gets some response, he will keep doing it. Whether that's good or a bad response, it still lets him know, aha, I'm onto something here. Play her like a fiddle. So it may be really annoying for it could be up to like 5-6 days, something like that. But as long as you are consistent and as long as the people that you live with are consistent and there's group buy-in, he should just, it should start to get better. So now that you're just saying, no, I've had it, cut it out, you're not playing me anymore, what's the next thing? Well, whenever you say no, you want to say yes to something. Think about it in terms of like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum, hitting the ground, banging fists, kicking legs, and screaming at the top of their lungs. And what you would want to do is in no way reward that, but as soon as there's some silence that you can reward, there you go. And that's exactly what you would do with Momo. Wait for something that you can reward. And for him, that's just sitting still and perhaps looking at you, just giving you eye contact and being still and silent. And you can even wait for a 10 count on that and then just go and give him a treat, give him something. Something that is rewarding and connecting, because also you picking him up, loving him, whatever it is, playing with him, that would be a really good thing to do, to just get that energy out of him in a way that he might not expect, but he would appreciate. But just the timing is essential, that when they do something that you want to reward, and again, if we look back, scratch, you reward. In this case, it's sit, eye contact, silence, reward. And he will get that, as long as you just do it in a timely way. Usually the common wisdom in training is, as long as the click and then the treat happen within about 2 seconds, you know that your cat or dog or chicken or hedgehog, but you get where I'm going. Just be timely about it and bring some fun into it. And that, I think, is one great solution. Another good solution is to start allowing the territory itself to provide a little bit of fun for him in preparation for you potentially going back to work. But in that case, there's a couple of things that I can recommend to you. One is cat TV, is giving him something to occupy himself with, and his sister, to look out at the world, making sure that you have beds or condos or things like that in any window that you can get in your home, so they get different views, that they get to soak up some sun at different points during the day, which will allow them to sort of passively engage themselves with the outside world, which they're going to do a lot of, and then to sleep it off, and that could be something that the day brings them, which I think is good and important. The other thing that I would recommend is puzzle toys. Puzzle toys are amazing, and again, all you have to do is put it down there, and there's treats inside that puzzle toy, and then he has to occupy himself yourself getting those treats out of there instead of you dishing them out. And anything that you can replace in terms of you being the giver with the environment, and then be able to switch that up in an unpredictable way as the day goes on. I won't say that it'll absolutely prevent it, but it will help to prevent separation anxiety when you do go back to work. Play is such a cure-all for so many things. In this case with Momo, he could very well just be bored. He's not necessarily hungry, but he wants attention. Here's one thing I can tell you, Anne, is it probably doesn't happen at random times during the day. He probably takes his cues either from you, where you are at work, where the sun is at. He's going to do it at approximately the same chunks of time every day. So for you to be able to predict that, get ahead of it and play with him so that at that point where he was gonna zoom up to an 8 and it's like, scratch, that at that point you've played with him, you've made him tired, and at that point he looks at the cabinet, he looks at you, he knows he's not gonna get anything because you've been ignoring him, right? And then he just goes off and, sleeps it off or does whatever. But at least at that point we know he's not gonna shoot up to an 8 or a 9, that he may just shoot up to a 4, and I'm sure a 4 is pretty tolerable to you at that point. And I am not trying to call you silly, although I did say that at some point. As a global cat community, we do silly things. I'm not judging. In the name of cat love. Oh, actually, my shirt says that I'm quiet, that I'm judging. We do some silly things. That's just way too simple. This is the result of a relationship that morphed over the past year or so. That as you guys spent more and more time together, there were a few sort of unfortunate offshoots, and I think this yelling is one of those. The scratching at the cabinets is another one. It's just a sort of weird detour that your relationship took based on the amount of time together. And don't forget the amount of love that you have for Momo. I mean, none of this would be happening if you didn't adore your boy. So believe me, I'm taking that into consideration as well. But I really do think that by saying no, being very consistent about the no itself, rewarding the things that deserve reward, finding different ways to reward so he doesn't settle into another rhythm that will have to change once you're not working at home anymore, letting the environment speak a little bit and provide wonder and entertainment. These are all things that will help. And like I said, mix it all up. Make it unpredictable. And I'm usually a big fan of the 3 R's routine, ritual, rhythm, and making every day look like the next. But in times where we know that there's going to be change and that you're trying to change up your relationship and the way he plays you like a fiddle, then, this would be the way to do it. So anyway, Anne, thank you for your question. Thank you for the love that you show your kids. Hopefully this will help you a little bit. For anybody else who wants me to answer a question and gently and with love rake them over the coals, then go ahead and whoop, right here, that address, that's where you want to send in. And again, it's the question video and it's showing me a little bit of the behavior so that I can get a handle on it. Maybe I'll help you get a handle on it. And for all of those who are watching this video for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell, because why would you want to miss this? I don't know, Jackson. Yeah. Anyhow, all right, you guys, until next time, all light and all love and all mojo to you. Scratch, scratch.